Hi, welcome back to Storytime with me, Danae Shanti. Thanks for tuning in. You know, as I'm sharing these stories, I'm teetering between sort of the mystical, spiritual experiences I've had and the very practical human experiences I've had and weaving them together. So I hope that you can hear something in my story that will boost you and help you with your story. Today's story is about having a bad man picker. How many women relate to that? You know, you pick the same personality type over and over and over and over and over and over. Different bodies, different men, the same pattern of guy. That was me, bad man picker. No offense to anyone I've been with in the past. So that's who I was at the time when I decided that I needed to have help. And it didn't dawn on me until it did that I could actually ask the universe for help in making me healed and addressing what I need to address within me so that I no longer chose the same reflection of male, that I could, rise up in who I was and be more integrated in who I was and more clear about my truth and who I wanted and who I wanted to be. And that's pivotal, who I want to be in relationship. So, bad man picker story. My predicament was that I was single and I was lonely. And I was okay being single because I'd learned how to love myself pretty well and my life was pretty copacetic. And I had the belief that I didn't want to have the trouble of another relationship that was just going to demand my energy and time and get into fights and have so many differences. That was the belief I had, that was the only way relationships could go. That was my first mistake. So who I was at the time was a woman who had a bad man picker, and I was in struggle about my beliefs. I was single and I was lonely. I just didn't know that relationships could actually be wonderful. It sounds silly when I say it now. Anyway, so my predicament was wanting companionship and not believing that that was possible. My great aunt Phyllis used to say to me, once I moved to Colorado, she lived in New Jersey, she used to say, you need to find yourself a cowboy and then find me one too. Make sure he has an older brother. And she keeps saying that to me. And I was like, why do I need a cowboy? So it was fall 4 years ago, and I was meditating. And in my meditation, a voice arose, voice of the universe, God, spirit, however you want to see that. A voice arose from within and said, you need to get off the fence. And I said, I need to get off the fence about what? And my guidance said, you need to get off the fence about being single and lonely and wanting to be in a relationship, but not believing it's possible to have a healthy one. You need to get off the fence and make a decision. You need to decide if you want one or you don't want one, and then close the door. No matter which way you go, just close the door so you're not teetering. And I thought, that's an interesting invitation. And I could be really stubborn. So that was my next predicament. I was lonely and I wanted to connect with a healthy relationship that I didn't believe was possible. So I was going against myself. Then I was presented with possibility in meditation. Make a decision, get off the fence. That meant I had to give up my belief. I actually had to flip my mind over and believe that something like this could be possible for someone like me who had this terrible pattern of being a bad man picker. So that was a deepening of my predicament. I took 3 days to think about it, and I prayed about it. I just kind of went inside and said, okay, this is really scary for me, and my history does not show that I do well in picking men, so here's the deal. I am going to take the risk to believe that I can have a healthy relationship and that it's possible for me and that I'm going to say yes. So that's what I did. I went inside and I prayed. I gave my response and I said yes to the universe. Within a couple of days of that, my Aunt Phyllis passed. She was old and she was on her way out, and she passed. And within a couple of days of her passing, I received an email through a dating site that I had signed up for like 6 years earlier and forgotten about. And the email came through from a gentleman who wanted to make a connection with me. And what I forgot to tell you earlier is that when I went inside and made that prayer and said, okay, I'm willing to believe, I also said, I am not going to lift a finger to find him because I have a bad man picker. You, universe, spirit, God, you have to make him find me. He's got to do all the work. I'm not lifting a finger because that way I'll know it's trustworthy. And that's what I had said. Then my Aunt Phyllis passed. Then this email invitation came through on this dating site. And I looked at the video and his write-up and his pictures, and he seemed very sweet and lovely. And I wasn't sure if there was a chemistry between us. And so most of the men that I had been with were about 6 to 7 years younger than me. And this gentleman was 8 years older than me. And that brought up my doubt. I was like, I don't know. And as I'm looking at his video, this voice, loud and clear, came in and said, you will say yes to him. Loud and clear, like someone stepped in the room and spoke to me, and I was like, okay. And there was such an energy with that guidance to direct me to say yes to this man. So that's the guidance that came through second time. First one was make a decision to believe or not to believe. Second, say yes to this guy. So I was still at choice. I could say yes or no. And I sat with it maybe for a few minutes. And I went, you know what? That was a really clear message from my guidance. I'm going to say yes. So I said yes. That's the choice I took. And in saying yes, we connected directly, through phone and email. We decided to have our first date. Said yes, took action, went on the first date. And when he came walking across the parking lot towards me, he looked different than how he appeared on the video. There were certain things happening in the video that were bringing up my doubt. Well, when he came walking toward me, my knees started shaking. I was like, oh my God, he's gorgeous. And I already had a sense of his heart because I read his, profile and watched his video. And the other thing that I wanted more than anything in the world was to finally live my dream with someone. I have been in different relationships where it felt like I was pulling teeth to get my partner to, execute parts of our dreams together, like, being on stage doing music, producing videos, stuff like that. This guy was a music producer, singer-songwriter, had performed live in front of many audiences, loved music. He was older than I, 8 years older, very stable, financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, strong male, and turns out a video producer as well. I didn't know all that at our first date. It just felt right. We had a good connection. We had lovely conversation, and we kept exploring it. The result is we are now engaged to be married. He's producing all of our videos. We've opened a business together called The Nest, and we perform together and record together quite well. So dream come true, healthy relationship. And guess what? We don't fight. Isn't it amazing? I didn't even know that was possible. We don't even fight. That doesn't mean we're like perfectly sweet all the time. We definitely have strong personalities and different experiences that we bring to the pool of our relationship. However, that's what it feels like. We have inspirations and ideas that are different. We bring it to the pool of our relationship, and then we stir the pot and see how it works well together. So in my storytelling, and I've spoken with a lot of women who say they have a bad man picker, I understand. I did that for years. What's the formula? Here's the formula that I used in my story to you that I'd like to invite you to use in your story. Maybe your story about something that has nothing to do with relationship, or maybe it does. Here's the formula. Who are you at the time of the struggle? What is the predicament that you're in that you wish was different? How do you ask the universe for help? Do you write it down? Do you pray? Do you go to a religious establishment? How do you recognize your guidance when it comes to you? What are the choices you're going to make after you receive your guidance based on your guidance? What action will you take based on your choices? And what are the results? Now, for some of you, you're following these guidelines: who I am, predicament, prayer, or asking universe for help, guidance, choices, action, result. You might need to wait a little bit for your results like I did. So check out that sequence of questions. I hope that you work with it, and please feel free to share your stories with me at my email address. It's listed right here on the video. And thank you for sharing story time with me. We're going to continue with this pattern of me sharing deep, intimate, personal stories from my life, of my struggles and my pain and my hardships, how I learned to tune into my guidance and get my trust muscles really strong to follow my guidance, and how I live my life and what happens when I do. So I look forward to sharing more with you, and I wish you all blessings on your journey. See you next time.